Secure Shell is a more secure alternative to Telnet. In the last video, I showed you how to configure Telnet, and as you know, Telnet came first, then Secure Shell. Telnet is less secure. Secure Shell is more secure. Telnet does not encrypt. Secure Shell does encrypt. I showed you that after you enable Telnet, you would type the Telnet and then the IP address after the target IP address of the device after that, so you could remotely manage it from a different device. I also show you the console configuration also, so that when you connect it directly into it, you would have a password. Now for this one, instead of using the actual physical console, I'm just going to cheat in Packet Tracer and go directly inside of it. Okay. Now I'm going to show you the running config. Right now, the running config won't work in this mode, as you know, right? As I showed in the Telnet video. So I'm going to go to enable mode. I'm going to go show run. Okay, these are the defaults. But before I do that. Okay, as you can see, this is the host name, and one of the requirements for Secure Shell is to have a host name. Now, if I go to config terminal and change the name to hostname switch, which is by default that's the name, it's not going to work, because Secure Shell will not work, because I need to have a unique name for the switch or the router that's not switch or a router, right? So let's give it a try if it works at all. So if I go and type username, no, okay, at first I want to enable a secret or password. As you know, password is in clear text, enable secret is encrypted, so therefore more secure and more recommended, so therefore we're going to use the enable secret. Enable secret is SEC, as in short for secret. Done. Now I'm going to create a IP domain name, so that for DNS purposes, I guess, right? So domain name, gonna name it repolyglot.com. Enter. Now I'm gonna type the username. I'm gonna give it a username, okay, gentle, and the password. Or you can also here have an enable secret as well. So you can have a password or you could have a secret. Now, do remember that this is note this, that this only works in the global mode. You can't have a secret in any of the VTY modes, right? So only in global mode. I'm going to name the secret Soul. So now that I have an IP domain name, I have a secret, I have a username and its own secret as well. Now it's time to generate an RSA key. Now if I didn't have an IP domain name, right? Say I deleted it, and starting from fresh, I have no IP domain name, and if I want to enable this router to generate RSA keys, right? For authenticate, for encryption, and for authentication and blah blah blah, right? So when I type crypto and then key generate, and then of course RSA, which RSA stands for the name of the 3 people who came up with this genius protocol, or this encryption key generator, right? So key generator, right? So that's just it. Don't get confused what RSA stands for. That's just their names. Like imagine like Rob, Sam, Adam. They have their own names. That's not their name though. But so I press enter, and it says, now remember I told you that the name, username, the host name doesn't have to be either a switch or a router. It has to be something unique. So it was unique. It was called hostname second floor, and now that it's unique, in fact, we can use okay. So this time, at first, it gave us that you don't have a host name, or your host name is switch. It should be something else. Okay, sir, we changed it. It's like now we're trying to do it again. It's like you don't have domain name. Okay, so we're gonna create a domain name as we did before, and we, as you remember, we deleted it to show you what it's like not to have it. So when I press enter, I have to give it the IP domain name repolyglot.com. Now that we have it, everything, okay, will you work now? Thank you. Now it's going to ask you for the number. By default, the Cisco recommends it 2024, right? Wrote it down here. 1024. 1024, right? I mean, it's 1024 is one of those binary numbers, right? That's been converted from binary to decimal. One of those popular numbers, right? So 1024 is Cisco's recommended for this number. However, we have the current version of the Secure Shell as Secure Shell 1 or 1.99, right? We want to have version 2. In order to qualify the switch to implement version 2 Secure Shell, it will need to have the byte count or the modulus right here for the bit count for a number of 726, right? 726. Okay, if not, it's going to tell us. So let's to show you, like, it's going to tell us what it is, and press enter. We're going to use the one that's by default. That's not the recommended one, the 1024 by Cisco. That's just the one that it asks us by default. Like, hey, do you want this? Like, sure, I'll take it, right? So it generated us in the 512 bits, and that's the 512 is also that, that's if for those of you who know subnetting, that's the 23rd bit count, right? For the number of hosts. Number of hosts is 510. Anyways, I mean, just to give you an idea what's going on. So now it's time to create to give it the version 2. So IP Secure Shell version 2. Enter. Saying the size needs to be 768. I think I said either 768 or somewhere around there, right? So 768 is the number that you need to create for the RSA key. So when you have to go back there again, press enter. It's asking you want to change it. Yes, please. So when you do that, you're going to, instead of the default one, you're going to type 768. Enter. Now that we have done that, our master right here, we're going to politely demand our master here to give us the version 2, and it did right now, as we did. So now, since we have the 768 bit bit number for the RSA keys, we're qualified or eligible to add Secure Shell version 2. At the end of this video, I'm going to jot down the steps to take the required steps for Secure Shell, so that you could have them for future reference. So now to do a quick show run, we're going to see we have our host name. We have our enable secret that we can't see because it's encrypted. We can see our IP Secure Shell version number. We have our domain name, and then also the username and the corresponding secret. And as we go more down, we see we don't have a VLAN interface address yet, interface VLAN 1 address, right? So that we could be recognized over the TCP/IP network. And of course, we also need a default gateway for outside network, but this is not necessary because we're going to use a direct contact to remotely manage the device. We also, it would be good to have a console password, but we're not going to do it for brevity's sake. And we need to also enable the VTY line. So let's do that first before we give the interface an IP address. So we're going to go to line VTY 0 through 15. Already has a login, but if you know that for Secure Shell you would need to have a login local to in order to use the username and the secret that we had, or Gentle's username and sole password will only be enabled as long as we have login local. Okay, now we don't even need to put a password for it, right? Because we already have that secret for the login local account. So do right, and as you would imagine, a switch or a router, just like any PC, can also it's safe to say that they could also be servers, right? So in this case, the switch is a authentication server, right, for the secure shell, and also generating the encryption key and all the other good stuff with that. So we're going to give it an interface for the VLAN 1. We're going to go to interface VLAN 1, IP address 172.16.30. So I want to be numerally correct. So we have for VLAN 30, right? Okay, look. I'm going to add a computer here. It's actually in VLAN 30, but even in VLAN 30, only one person has access to this switch, and as for the first floor, this administrator here can access the first floor switch because it's in VLAN 30. But because they're tech people, we put them in VLAN 30 for tech support. Therefore, for the second floor switch, if I add a new computer that's not in management nor in any of these, but it's just one guy who's an admin, but because he's a tech, he's in VLAN 30, so we're just going to give him VLAN 30. In reality, also he's in VLAN 1, just like his peer, co-worker downstairs, but they can't, for our, in this video, only like the appropriate PCs can go, the admins for each floor can go into their switch. Now, to do that real quick, we're going to go add this PC, and okay, real fast, I'm going to give it the IP for it to be recognized. So 172.16.30. Okay, so that switch is .4. So let's see, we have .1, .2, .3, .4 for my switch, .5 for me, because .6 is the default gateway. So I mean, this is by coincidence that I filled up the whole entire bit mask within that range, right? So which is, I mean, I've never done this before. It's just amazing. So 172.16.30.5, right? Because .4 is for the switch. I'm going to do that. I'm going to give it its mask. It's a 29-bit mask, so it has a 248 octet at the end of it. So gateway is 30.6. Okay, now we have this. So let's see. And then I have to type it over again. Alright, so IP address 172.16.30.4. 248 is the last octet. I'm going to enable it. Okay. To show VLAN brief to see our interface is in the correct one, which it isn't, because actually it is, because well, I mean, it isn't, and it is because, I mean, it's both, right? Because we haven't connected this PC to Fast Ethernet 5, so it isn't, but it is because Fast Ethernet 5 is in VLAN 1. So all we have to do is just connect this PC using a straight-through cable to Fast Ethernet 5. So we're gonna, by the time it comes up, we're gonna check everything real quick. So, and I'm gonna give it a default gateway for this switch too. Okay, so IP default gateway is 172.16.30.6. Okay, do right. I'm gonna save it. All right, let's see if it works. So I'm going to go to command prompt, and in the telnet video I showed you that for you to remotely manage it via telnet, you would have to type telnet and then the target IP address. For this one, you would have to type secure shell. Okay, good. but both of them have that in common. But for this one, you would have to type -L. L stands for login, right? After you go and do that, you're going to type the username of that switch. If you remember, the username is gentle, right? So I'm going to type gentle, and now this is the last part. This is going to be the IP address of the the target device. So it's going to be 172.16.3.4, 30.4. Enter. Now it's working, right? So if you remember, right now we just entered through the first door. It's asking for a key. You whip out your key, you're going to enter it, and that key is going to be what? Okay, I don't even remember. I have to remember. So, okay, so it's going to be, is it Cisco? No, it's not Cisco. Is it James? No, that's for that switch. For this one, for the VTY, for the user, Sol, right? One more time. Right. So the first key to the first door is Sol. And what is Sol? Sol is a secret, not a password, encrypted. It's the secret for the username that would not work unless you have that login local command enabled. Now you understand? The login local, when you enable it, that's for so you could use that username gentle secret Sol. It would not work without that. So we passed the first door. Now we have to take out a key that is for the enable. So we had enable secret, SEC, short for secret, right? So you go enable. You try to open the second door, SEC, and we're in. We are inside. So right here. I mean, I would directly click on these, but in reality, I was actually doing this, right? So instead, now I got through there through this PC, and that's connected to VLAN 1. And yes, this is how you configure Secure Shell. Okay, so what I want to do is now, as I promised, I'm going to jot down all the steps we took to get here. What it takes to implement Secure Shell. Gonna go step by step, one by one. The first thing we did on the right side of the topology on the second floor, what I did was I entered first via the console because I had nothing on it to be able to get on remotely. So I had to go into the global mode, and what I first did was I enabled secret. Enable secret, and gave it the password sec, or the secret sec. Second thing I did, or if I hadn't taken them in these exact steps, these are the steps that you have to take, right? So say that I would create an IP, or if I create an IP domain, domain name, and you press tab and it completes domain name, right? And then polyglot.com, and that's the name. So, and then I typed now that I have a domain name, I could create an RSA key. So I need two things for an RSA keys, right? The first, I need an IP domain name, and I also need a username and a secret or password, right? So and for if you want to have it for the Secure Shell version 2, you're going to need a 768 bits count, or bits for that the modulus number that you use to generate the RSA keys. If I remember, I also right. So I also needed to make a username and password. So username I wrote gentle, and then secret. You could also have password. It's better to have secret. Soul, username gentle, secret soul. Press enter. Now I can go and type crypto key generate RSA, and when I press enter, because I want to use version 2, I gave it number 768 rather than the default 512 or the Cisco's recommended 1024. So when I did that, when you do that, you go immediately to the line number 6 step, line BTY 0 through 15, all in one, enter, and then 7 you go to, so you already have login and you don't have password, but you want to log in local to use your username and password, right? So you're going to go type login local, press enter. You don't have to give it a password, and then when you did that, of course you want to make sure that the interface for this video's goal or purpose is that you want to make sure that your interface is in the correct VLAN. So, and you need to of course have an IP address for your switch. So this is like a very important part of it, because I mean, or else it's not going to work. No one's going to be able to hear your switch screaming, or like can't find your switch. So I'm gonna go type you can't find it over TCP/IP, right? So you'll type interface VLAN 1, default VLAN. Then you go native VLAN. You go to IP address, and blah blah blah, whatever the number it is. Okay, I want to represent it with 72 and or .5. Okay, I have to write the whole thing, might as well, right? Okay, so if you want to have it so that your switch can communicate with outside subnet, you have to give it a default gateway address. So you'll type IP default gateway .6 in our case, right? And let's see, what else did I also had for. Okay, so now that I did that, I associate if I didn't, if it wasn't there, I had to associate the correct interface. So that's what I go to interface fast Ethernet 5 in this case. Interface fast Ethernet 5, and then 12. You would type switchboard access VLAN 1 so that it's in it, right? And then after you do that, you're gonna go. Now you can go and telnet from your computer, and then your computer, okay, say this is your computer, you're going to type secure shell. For telnet, you type telnet. For this, you type secure shell, okay? For telnet, this is that, and then the target address because that's where we enable it on that one. If it was on here, it would be .5. For this one, it will be 172.16.30.5. Okay, for brevity, I'm going to just put .5, and then after secure shell, I'm going to put login, right? Unlike telnet, that's just these two simple ones. Secure shell, for being more secure, therefore more complex, it's going to have this login, this -L or login, right? And then after that is the username. In our case, is gentle, right? And I was just looking to see whether if I forgot to put username and password. So and then the target IP address in our case is 5. If it was that computer, it would be .4. So and then when you would enter, you would type all that just to enter the first door. And then you would give the key, which is going to be the VTY password, login local, that's pointed to the secret soul, right? So that's the first door's key. The second door's key is the enable secret password. Watch. the first thing we put, which is going to be SCE, and that's for that. And one thing I forgot to do, which after I created the secure shell, after generated and all that, I forgot to verify the version of my secure shell. So for those of you who've looked at this far, I hope that you know how it works. So secure show IP secure shell, enter, and voila, it's number 2, version 2, and that's how you implement secure shell, or that's how you implement remote management for Cisco devices using secure shell.